If he cannot enhance the quality of your life, he does not deserve access to you. Since the beginning of time, especially if you pay attention to bloodline curses and things that continue in your family, you'll recognize what is coming up against you and what the door opener to that is. And most of the time, it's through relationships because that's where we are the most vulnerable. A man has the power, and I'll take it away from the man because it's not just about him solely. What you allow to have access to you has the power to be detrimental or beneficial to your life, to the quality of your life. How many women in your family or women that you listen to stories about, how many women now have health issues based upon what they allowed to have access to their life? Did it enhance the quality of their life, or did it depreciate their value completely, even to the point where now they have to be on a breathing machine? Some women have had strokes. Some women are in wheelchairs. Some women are no longer the same because of what they allowed to have access to them. Love is a very powerful thing if you know how to utilize it correctly. And trauma as well as intention plays a major role in the breakdown or the building of a relationship. But self-awareness is the key for you to be in tune. The moments in my life where I was not in tune with myself, I didn't know the way I contributed to my detriment within relationships. That's when I was in victim mode the most because it was everybody else's fault. I went through this in my life. This was my experience and my trauma and this, that, and the third. And I could not see how I was playing a role in my own demise. I thought it was someone else's fault. Yes, they played a part, but they can only do that if I allowed them to have access to me and I gave them that choice. And that's what we lose sight of. We think things are happening to us when they're happening for us. It can only be against you if you allow it to. And most of the time, we are ignorant to what is really taking place because things like to hide. People's goals for you can be hidden underneath actions and words and emotion. And if you don't take the time to process your emotions, how you're receiving that, how that makes you feel, what that is, if you don't take the time to really process everything, you'll get bamboozled. And then you'll open your eyes one day and you'll see that you are in the wrong person's bed. The bed you weren't supposed to be in the first place because, first of all, they should not have access to you until they are committed to you and have a plan for you that they are executing efficiently and effectively. Not just talking about it or half-stepping, and you're okay with that because you've never experienced something like that before, so it's okay. People will hide behind compassion. They'll hide behind support. They'll hide behind love and showing up for you. All while sowing seeds of insecurity and doubt. So confusion is running rampant even though they're helping you. When you're stuck in double-mindedness, and you're unsure of what is going on because of confusion and emotions and things that you're not aware of at this current moment, because of what they're hiding behind and what they're offering you, it becomes difficult to pinpoint what their intentions are because you're so blinded by their extension of help. For example, when I was in college, I had this one acquaintance because I've learned the difference between just calling people your friends. They are not your friends. They are your acquaintance until further determination, right? Everybody has to be vetted and tested, and respect is not freely given. It is earned, and that's the problem. We were raised to just give respect. No, it is earned, right? Of course, I won't mistreat you or treat you less than, but there's certain parts of me that are a privilege. You will not gain access to them easily. Respect that, right? So I had an acquaintance in college, and we had history because we had went to school together when we were younger, right? And for some way, somehow, our paths aligned again later on in life. I never peeped. I knew what her struggles were when we were in school together, but we were young, and you think, okay, people have outgrown that, not knowing even the parts of you that showed up incorrectly back in that time are still showing up currently if you're ignorant to how you were operating, right? So that people pleaser in you is still showing up. Even though you were younger at that time, that people pleaser in you is still with you currently if you have not nipped that in the bud and learned how to set boundaries without compromising to appease other people because of people pleasing. So, there are ways that I operated. People pleasing was my way in overcompensating. And there are ways that she operated too. But in my mind, we're older now. That means we're wiser. That means we no longer operate in this way and things are all good. So we get closer as we are attending college. I'm not going to say too much because some people know my story. Some people know me. Some people also know this person. And I don't want them to put two and two together or create any strife or drama because that is not the goal here at all. My intentions are pure. This is simply me sharing wisdom so that we all can elevate. I pray that she is in a better place in life as I know that she is, not declare it and decree it because I saw her projected potential and I know she's worthy of it, right? I always had this feeling that something was off. And there would be situations where I end up being the joke at the table when we're all hanging out and other people are around, and I will become the person to almost attack and put on the spot to make her feel better or seem better or whatever it is that she was trying to do. But I kept benefiting doubt, right? Because I'm like, man, every single time she's out at the store or she goes somewhere, she's always bringing me gifts back. When she's done with her old stuff, like, she lets me go through it, take what I want. Like, she gave me this, gave me that. Whenever I need a ride, like, she was very, very helpful and always extended me her hand whenever I needed it, and even when I did not ask. So I'm like, giving her the benefit of the doubt because she was always so giving. I got so caught up in that to where I stopped being attentive to the true goal. Because people can be handing you things. They can be helping you. They can be giving you words of affirmation. They can be doing all the things right. And because you're so blinded by that and distracted by that, you'll continue to give them the benefit of the doubt when the true goal and their true intention shows up. So I kept benefiting doubt. It got to a point within our relationship, within our experience together, where I really started to say, I'm not going to benefit doubt anymore. So I'm off here. It is underlying jealousy. I don't know what it is. And I know it's not a blatant, it is a blatant attack towards me. But it's not an attack towards me personally. It's an attack of the way you're perceiving me. It's really you attacking God. Because this is how God ordained me to operate. So you're really attacking God. You're not attacking me. As I've went through life and I've grown and elevated, I've learned to accept that the attack is never blatantly against me. It's against God working in me because I'm operating in my divinity. And people take that offensive because they feel as if they don't have that. It's they're thinking from a lack mentality. So the attack was never personally against me. The attack was against God. And also it was a mirror back of herself that was telling her she wasn't good enough. It had nothing to do with me and everything to do with the experiences that she had coming up through childhood and through negative seeds that were planted in her. And she has to go back into herself and pull up that root. Because even we're no longer in an association, right? That can be showing up with somebody completely different. So it was not an attack against me. That's just how she was operating because of what was within her. So when I started a peep game, I was like, hold on. I need to separate myself accordingly because this does not serve me. And I'm tired of benefiting doubt and questioning myself and dealing with this underlying jealousy. It was slowing my progress. And I was choosing to allow it to, because at the end of the day, nothing can slow you down or get in your way unless you say yes to it. And most of the time, you're agreeing to it through your actions and through how you're allowing it to have access to you, even if you have not said yes with your mouth. There are people who are agreeing to things by writing stuff down. There are people who are agreeing to things by being in association with that person physically. There are people agreeing to things without saying anything out their mouth. You can pray to God without ever speaking a word. So we have to take ourselves out that mindset that says agreement is just if I say yes. No, there's many ways to agree. It does not always have to be verbally. That's why you got to read the fine print and be extremely aware about what you are entangling yourself with, because it's an agreement. So I said, I'm going to go ahead and separate myself from this, right? But the craziest part about that separation, and I started cutting ties and wanting to shift things in my life and do something different, I still had the things that she gifted me during our experience as friends, because that's what she was to me at that moment, right? I'm letting go. I'm separating. I'm no longer in contact with this girl, but she's heavy on my mind. And not the heavy on my mind like I'm still processing it for friends and this, that, and third. I had clarity in that area. And yeah, there was a little bit of lingerance in that from that experience, but this was different. Because there's a difference between like, oh, I missed that person, or I'm still thinking about them, I'm still trying to sort through the situation. There's a difference between that and this is heavy on my mind to the point where I'm like, why am I thinking about this so hard? Why does it feel like it's overtaking me? What is going on? Like, this feel insane. It's a difference. So one day, as this is tormenting me, the thoughts, the situation, her, all these things, I'm looking around my room and it's surrounded and filled with things that she has given me. Energetically, she still had access to me, especially through the things that she had gifted me that I was still using. When I peeped that, because listen, a person can be physically separated from you and still energetically tied to you. That's why God says be careful about who you allow to have access to you. And his major access point is through your body, because who you sleep with is who you're married to. And a lot of people say, oh, divorces feel like death. When you separate from people, what does it feel like? It feels like you're mourning. It feels like a death. The people that you have laid down with and been in relationships with and have created a soul tie, what does it feel like when you separating from them people? It feels like death, because you're going through a spiritual divorce, because you've tied yourself to these people. And it does not always have to be through intercourse. That's just the most powerful way. It's as simple as exchanging DNA. So you think, oh, because we're not going the full way, we're not creating a soul tie. No, saliva, oral, all of that. It's energetic before it's anything else, right? It's energy exchange. So once I peeped that, I said, I'm throwing all of this away. I cleaned my whole room. I took everything she had ever given me and threw it in the trash can. Threw it in the trash. All the heaviness that was on my mind, everything that I was overthinking about and I was feeling so anxious about and scared and fear because we were still living in the same atmosphere, all that went out the door. I started taking up my space. I didn't feel controlled or overpowered or none of that. I started moving a completely different way because I started to call my energy back by detaching myself, especially through the physical items that were given to me. Everything is spiritual. Be wise in who you accept things from and make sure you're vetting them to even see why they're giving it to you. Because you should never feel uneasy about a gift, especially if it's coming from God. And I'm not telling you that you're not going to have fear or feelings when it's God, because sometimes trauma, sabotage, all these other things that are coming up in you will cause you to question the very person that's supposed to bless you. So you have to deal with yourself and sift through your emotions in solitude. That's very important. That's why processing your emotions is important. And that starts by you sitting down and thinking about the situation, writing the situation down in detail, going over it a couple times, praying on it, asking God for further revelation, having the conversations if you need to, and not having the conversations in full emotion to where it's like, I don't know because this, that. No, you need to be completely sure about how you feel and do not benefit doubt. They played with me in this area. I get why that was the breakdown of that, because I contributed it in this way and I got to stand fully in my truth here. And this is why I operated that way, because I was thinking this, that, and the third. I'm taking this to God. I'm praying on it. And now I can go into a conversation and also receive feedback without taking it as an attack because I'm still in denial. It's a process. Start writing them situations down and getting your emotions in order, processing them so that you can compartmentalize what has taken place and why you feel the way that you feel, so that you're not blindly going into a conversation and now it's blown up in your face because of manipulation, because of projection, because of denial, because of sabotage, because of anger, all of these things that were never supposed to have power in that conversation. That's why everything takes time. And I am an advocate for writing letters, for sending emails, for sending texts, and communicating that way prior to it ever being verbal, because it's easy to get caught up in things that you're not aware of because of high emotions. So the time to process and evaluate what has taken place is extremely important. When feelings are involved, when manipulation is at play, when you are not solid in your stance as to what you desire, who you are, what your goal is, what God wants from you, and things of that nature, it is easy to be swayed. You moving back and forth and double-minded, like God says, like you'll be tossed to and from like the winds and the waves and the seas. It's easy for you to become an ocean. Easy. Okay? If you are not aware. So awareness is key. Awareness brings clarity and it clears up space. So many situations in your life, so many relationships in your life are taking up a lot of space and a lot of your energy, and you can't even utilize it for something different because you have no clarity there. There's no awareness. You have to sit down in that and really sift through what has taken place or what is taking place currently. Give yourself the time to process things. And if you don't have the answers and somebody's asking you for them and you're in an argument or they need something from you and whatever the case may be, tell them you need time and they need to take time too, because that's the only way that y'all will come out on common ground, even if you don't agree fully. I've learned from experience. If you do not look at your circumstances as lack, then no one will be able to manipulate you. Most of the time, because you might not have a place to stay. Your finances might not look the best currently. You might be in a situation where you are experiencing a lot of adversity to fight what you are believing for, which is inevitable. That's what it requires. And if you look at your circumstances outside of joy, you start to look at things as lack, people will be able to manipulate you. Now it's like, oh, well, I can help you. And now you're living with somebody who really wants to possess you or control you. And you're doing things that are compromising your integrity, it's compromising yourself, your peace, your progress, because you started to view your situation as if you were lacking something. God feeds the bees, the birds, and everybody outside, all the insects. So why would he not feed you, is what he says in his word. He'll provide. But you have to stand in adversity and shift your perspective to say, I'm not in lack here. It might seem like I'm in lack to you because I'm sleeping on the floor. It might seem like I'm in lack to you because I'm riding a bus. It might seem like I'm in lack to you because I don't have a car. Whatever the case may be, it might seem as if I'm in lack to you, but this is temporary and I'm just passing through, so I have joy in this. People will not be able to manipulate you or take advantage if you look at your circumstances from the lens of joy and gratitude. That's why God is so big on that. Most of the people that you hear that are successful, that got to through adversity, crazy adversity, they always say, you need to be grateful. Like when I was going through this and I was experiencing that, I was grateful. When I was sleeping underneath my sister's desk in her dorm room because I didn't want to make her uncomfortable, I could have slept in her bed, but I didn't want to make her uncomfortable at the time, and I knew I was just passing through. I had joy. I used to hop on the bus, had a 3-hour bus ride every morning to go to school. I had joy. The problem was I started to listen to other people. I started to tune into adversity too much. I started to really view my circumstances from a place of lack and not joy. And then I started to think, well, maybe I don't have enough. And from there, it was easy for me to be manipulated, especially because I started to let the wrong people have access to me. And that was detrimental for my progress. But one thing about it, everything the enemy intends for evil, God intends for good. So it all worked out in my favor, and it taught me the most pivotal lesson of my life that has been following me my entire life. This is nothing new. Most of the things, if not all of the things that you're experiencing, are things that you have already experienced in the past, or someone in your bloodline has experienced in the past, and it has been passed down to you through the womb. It's that deep. And so you have to recognize, how many times have I been in this position to where I was not aware of myself? How many times was I in this position where I let the wrong person have access to me, and it started to be detrimental to my progress, to my peace, to my joy, to my finances? How many times have I allowed that to take place? It happened within different circumstances, so I thought it was something different, but it is the same energy, the same spirit, the same scenario. So I'm thankful. I'm so grateful for how that season of my life went, how it played out, because it taught me a pivotal lesson that I will now apply. The problem is we don't apply the wisdom. We don't take the lesson as a blessing. We're still stuck in why it happened to us and not for us, and I shoulda, coulda, woulda, did, shame and guilt, pride and ego, denial and all these things, violation, offense. There's so many spirits, because that's what those emotions are. There's so many spirits involved that you can't even heal, because you're stuck in those strongholds. You're stuck in those principalities. You're stuck in that way of being, because you feel as if this is not for you, it's not beneficial, and your life always ends up this way. So you're starting to accept that that is reality, when that's the furthest from the truth. When you pause to reflect and not run, you will have a way better outcome, because you will start to apply the wisdom that you're receiving from the lesson instead of disassociating from the pain. How many times have you ran and you ran right into the same door but in another household? I've been there many times before, and that's how I'm able to spread this wisdom, because I got to a position where I said, no more. Not another day. Not another minute. Not another second. Not another hour will I waste my energy on something I've already done time and time before. That's insanity. For me to keep doing the same thing repetitively, thinking that I'm going to get another outcome, thinking that things are going to change, that's insanity. And insanity is extremely expensive. I don't have money to waste. We're so focused on physical wealth. Your energy is wealth. Your time is wealth. Your mind is wealth. The ideas that come through you are wealth. Everything that is in you and on you is wealth. It's kingdom currency. That's why God keeps calling you to speak. That's why God keeps calling you to use your hands. That's why God keeps calling you to think. That's why God keeps calling you to use your gifts, and you keep discounting them as a small thing and trying to go out to attach yourself to what the world says is qualified or worthy. That's just evidence that your gifts work. The resources God's sending you, the money God's sending you, the people God's sending you, the opportunities that are coming is evidence that your gifts are making room for you. But it's not your identity. It's not what qualifies you. You were qualified before your destiny helpers ever showed up. You were qualified before the opportunities ever came. You were qualified before the money ever dropped in your account. You were qualified before the money ever dropped in your account. You were qualified. All that is just evidence. Access is the most powerful thing that you have, because it determines the direction of your life. It determines the steps that you will follow. If God is ordering your steps and he's revealing your steps to you, if you allow the wrong thing to have the right access to you, you are not going to follow in his pathways correctly, because you're being guided by something else, something that's against you. Someone wise once taught me that you don't have to do what everyone else is doing in order to gain wisdom. You can look at what they're doing currently and look at the effects of their life, and there you will see wisdom. There you will gain wisdom. You don't have to do what they have done in order to gain it. You don't have to go through what they have gone through in order to speak on it. You can study the effects of someone's life based upon the decisions that they have made, and you will gain wisdom and insight. You don't have to go through that. It's a choice. If he cannot enhance the quality of your life, he does not deserve access to you. A table has no use. It can't be used if it does not have chairs, if it does not have plates to go on top of it, if it does not have legs. You'll just be the tabletop. It requires much more than just the table in order to complement it and for it to be beneficial and of use, in order for it to be complete and whole, and to do what it was created to do. People gather around tables and they sit, but if there are no chairs to sit at, they'll go sit on the couch, because it don't even feel right being at a table with no chairs. So if they cannot enhance you and complete you, then there is no purpose for them being in your life. There's no purpose in them having access to you. Because who you allow to have access to you can be beneficial or detrimental. if they're not enhancing your quality of life, and I'm not just speaking on a financial level, money is important, but it is not everything. You can gain wealth and lose your mind. You can gain wealth and lose your joy. You can gain wealth and lose your peace. You can gain wealth and lose your integrity. You can gain wealth and lose your divinity because you no longer hear God. Because he cannot dwell in that space you have chose. He says you cannot serve two masters at once. You cannot receive your divine order, your divinely ordered steps, if you're being ordered by money and fame and riches and Jezebel whispering in your ear or Leviathan. You have to choose one. That's what he means by that. He also says that a man's ways are not his ways. So the world is saying money, 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 power, 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 sex, fame. That's how you get it. And then we see everybody crashing out. And God is saying work on your heart. Work on your posture. Work on your confidence. Work on your relationship with me. Work on your mind. The money's going to come. That's inevitable for you. You've always had it. You might not have had it in large amounts the same as everybody else, but some way, somehow, you keep eating. You keep winning. You keep prospering. There's always a way that's figured out. You're beyond wealthy. There's not even a word or a definition to describe your type of wealth. That's why he says you're far more precious than a ruby. You're not easily accessible. People have to go to museums and gain special access, sometimes pay to get in to even be in your presence, let alone your space. It's not solely about finances. It's about purpose. God also says two minds are better than one. He didn't say two pockets. He said two minds. Not just any minds, but minds operating on a high level. Sound minds, because that's what he's given you. Two are better than one. He also says a man is not supposed to be alone. He wasn't just talking about a man as in the sex. He was talking about man in general. All of us. We wouldn't be so concerned about love if that wasn't the truth. But the problem is, we've been accepting counterfeits and also acting like one, when that is not who we are. Because we've been lining up with the wrong frequencies. We've been lining up with the wrong principle. We've been lining up with the wrong power. We've been lining up with the wrong things. We've been allowing the wrong parties to have the right access to us. And we've only been focused on monetary. Relationships are important. That's why it's the main topic of conversation in everything that you watch, in every show that we intake, in every conversation that we have. It's about relationships. It's also on topic with off topic. It makes me think about a lot of shows and TV, a lot of movies and things that we watch are always about us desiring what is somebody else's. It's always about stealing, killing, and destroying. It's demonic. Out of all the people in the world, you want your friends, man? Out of all the people in the world, you want your friends, woman? Out of all the people in the world, you got to steal, kill, and destroy for something that has already been claimed. Sound demonic to me when God says we don't live in lack. He's a God of an abundance. So why would you have to steal? Anyways, access is important. And you can see the effects of allowing the wrong people to have the right access to you. So I advise you take your time and do not suppress yourself or hide your truth in your process of vetting correctly. Deny access to you so that people can prove themselves worthy of being in your space. And that does not make you cocky. That does not make you toxic. That does not make you selfish. That makes you wise. Practice that. Start by saying no. Start by saying that makes me uncomfortable. Start by saying, listen, sir, I have a goal. in a task at hand. And I do not like the way that my life is currently, so I'm doing something different. And if you cannot add to that, then you need to move out of my way respectfully. Have a great day, and God bless you the same. I don't have time to waste here. And if that's the man for you, he's going to step up to the plate and he is going to enhance your quality of life. And you then will enhance his. That comes natural to you through words of affirmation, through prayer, through you giving him your energy. You do that automatically because it is naturally who you are and who you've been created to be. But that does not mean it should be easily accessible. God didn't say go out here and cast all your pearls amongst swine and everybody who's available so that you can save everybody. He didn't assign that to you. He said that is unwise and that is foolish. Do not cast your pearls amongst swine. If they cannot enhance your quality of life and they are not willing, they are not ready, if they are showing you that they do not have the goal of you both elevating and benefiting in this in a divine way, you're casting your pearls among swine, because everything that you pour into them will be poured right back out onto something that ends up being detrimental for you both. I know you see their projected potential and what they can be. And a lot of us fall in love with ideas because of projected potential. But if they are unwilling to change, if they are unwilling to step up, if they are unwilling to do something different, if they're unwilling to collaborate, then you are casting your pearls among swine and you must walk away. Should not even have been, access shouldn't even have been allowed anyway, because they were supposed to be going through a vetting process to see if they were worthy to have full access to you. This is why it's extremely important to know your stance when it pertains to you. Freestyling has become the standard, and that's detrimental, because freestyling will have you wasting your time, your effort, your energy, your gifts, your mind, your prayers with someone who does not have a plan for you. You're just freestyling, trying to figure it out, and that's prime real estate for open doors. Because you didn't close the last ones, you're inviting more people into this space. That's prime real estate for catastrophe and chaos, because there's no real plan here. You don't even know what you want to do with your life, let alone do you know your time frame. So until you pinpoint that for yourself, you can't even have a plan for nobody else. Until you go to God and pray about it, you can't even have revelation come to you for the plan for that person. And there's too many people in your energy. So you have to get serious about you and what you desire for your life and what your vision is for you, not just having vision for everybody else and you're trying to tend to their needs and pour and pour and pour and pour and pour. Because you're used to being that way. Due to survival, due to responsibility at an early age, due to a lot of different things. Your childhood plays a major role in the way that you operate. You have to sift through that. My identity, I started to take on cleanliness as my identity. That was my role in the house. That was the way that I contributed. That was my way of showing reciprocity. So I would be cleaning everything up. I'm always cleaning. I almost took that on as my identity, to be the one that cleaned all the time. Then that got easily misinterpreted with people, because you going in people's house and you cleaning up and they're starting to take that as romantic. This ain't romance for me. This is what I naturally do. And I had to learn a lesson through that, because it was like, whoa, hold on. He completely misinterpreted my action here, because I'm giving him access to a part of me that should not be easily given, just because that was my way of being coming up. Every part of you should be limited. Nothing should be given freely when it pertains to you, unless God is telling you to extend that. That's why you have to be in tune and asking the questions before you offer anything. Because sometimes you offering things as you coming into agreement you are unaware of, until you sitting in that bed like, listen, sir, I can't move forward with this. I don't even know how I got here, because I was just going with the flow. And actually, this is not how it should be. So I'm sorry, but I have to deny you. And now you have to go through a series of events of rejection and chaos and all this drama, because you were loose in your action that got you to a place of agreement that you didn't even know you said yes to. And for a lot of women, that's a difficult space to be in, especially when you're in intimate atmospheres with people, because of fear of violation. But there comes a time where we're going to have to fight then. That's what it is. Because I'm not about to allow you to have access to me just because you scared me into it, or manipulated me, or guilt tripped me. And I didn't see at first, but I see now clearly. So, sir, you're going to have to move around. That is not mean. That is not rude. You have been taught to be a people pleaser. And people pleasing only keeps you benefiting everybody else while being detrimental towards you. Everybody else is benefiting off of you while you are being depleted and drained. Access is your power. Be wise with it. The most important thing I want to share is that before you can become tied with anybody, you must know what your goal is for yourself. What is it that you desire for your life? What is your vision? What are you going after? You don't have to know everything all laid out and all mapped out to the point where you know your purpose and your calling and what revolution you're going to start. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you look at your life right now, what do you want it to look like? What would you change? Pinpoint that and identify what it requires, who it requires you being to change that. Go to God in prayer about it. Ask him about your destiny helpers to release them, to give you the heart to receive it, to help to reveal who you are currently that's coming against you receiving your help. Go to him and cry out. Pray about it and write out your vision as to what it is you desire, and write it as if you already have it. Express gratitude and put a timestamp on that journal page. Step out and implement action. It's not just about praying and asking God and crying, because he's waiting on you to act on it. And you're in confusion because, God, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to do it? You said that you want to start selling clothes or selling hair. You said that you want to start doing music. What does that require? Who are you inspired by that's already doing it? Start to pinpoint what it takes. Write down your list. God, listen. For some reason, in my spirit, I know that it's not for nothing. I want to open up some salon suites. And I also want to have my own chair in there and be able to extend that chair to other people, because there's a lot of people out here who are talented, but they do not have the resources. They don't even have a place to stay to be able to get them a chair, because they worried about their day-to-day. So I want to not only be able to have a place for myself to be able to work out of, but I want to be able to provide that for other people who are in the same position as me now. And I know that's not on my spirit for no reason, God. So I found this building. Seems as if I can't afford it, but something about it feels right to me, Lord. And if it's in your will, then have your way. Release my help and guide me in the right direction so that I know what it requires for me to get this place. I looked up a FHA loan, Lord. I looked up these loans, and they said this is how I can do it. Lead me in the right direction. I'm inspired by this person. This was their journey and their story, Father God. I'm going to reach out to them. Go to God and pray about it, but you need to be bringing him something. Not just in confusion, like, oh, Lord, I don't really know what to. You also have to play a part in this. It's not just about God handing it to you on a silver platter. He's going to lead you along the way and constantly give you confirmation and put that impression on your spirit to tell you, you can do it. You're worthy of it. I will help you. I will send for you. I have people who are coming from the ends of the earth to answer you. Go after it. He's going to constantly be there. But you got to bring him something to work with, just like he told the woman in the Bible with the vessels. Listen, you got oil in your house. That's what you said that you have. You have identified what you can use. You have identified the building. You have identified the loan. You have identified the opportunity. You have identified what it is. So this is what I need from you. God told her, go get you some jars, bring them in the house, shut the door, start filling up as many jars as you can believe for with this oil. I'm going to pour and pour and pour and make sure you receive so much oil that you're going to get more than what you expected. But it's up to your belief system as to how much I'm going to pour. He didn't give her a limit on the vessels for her to bring. He just said, go get some vessels and bring them in the house, and I'm going to fill them. She could have got 3 times as many vessels as she had, and God would have filled those too. It was up to her belief system. So it's up to you to believe that this is possible for you. God's not going to believe for you. He's going to affirm you. He's going to reassure you. He's going to remind you. He's going to inform you of who you are along the way so that you can break free of what's keeping you from believing, sabotage, trauma, doubt, fear, all these things, violation, all these things. He's going to reveal to you, but it's up to you to say, I'm the head and not the tail. So I'm dominating and I'm commanding everything that is trying to attach itself to me and keep me from believing to leave me now. And I'm no longer going to give it space to operate. Your lower self and your higher self are in it. Your flesh. Listen, God says deny your flesh. Kill your flesh. He doesn't really mean off yourself. You still got to live here. You get what I'm saying? You're still a spirit having a human experience at the end of the day. You live together. But you are the head, not the tail. Your flesh is your lower. Your spirit is your higher. Your spirit is your head. Your flesh is your tail. You have dominion. You be knowing when your flesh is taking control because you be acting like that. Okay? It be all out on the streets for people to see. That's how you be knowing when your lower's taking control of your higher. You're not operating as the head. Okay? You're the head, not the tail. The lender, not the borrower. That means your whole belief system has to shift. And I'm not coming for you. Okay? Offense cannot live here. Offense is not what I work with. It's not what I collaborate with. It's not what I do here. Some things that I say will be like, and you're going to get a little irritated. It's okay. It's because we're breaking something off you. Your life will not be the same. The fact that you're even here listening to this, taking it in, and getting them stings and saying, I'm going to keep going with it, I'm not going to allow that to control me, already is evidence that your life is about to change because you're actively seeking something different, even though it doesn't feel good all the time. Doesn't mean anything's wrong with you currently. It just means you're growing, and that requires pain. Take that vision to God. Write it and make it plain. And go after it. Declare and decree the entire way and breathe. Pause. Take time to process. Don't be thirsty for opportunities because counterfeits will come. Don't be thirsty to connect yourself with people because you're ready for love. Do not be thirsty for it. Take your time and process it because if it is God, it will wait for you. If it is God, it will be patient. If it is God, it will also change for you. If it's God. That's what collaboration is because both parties are playing a part in the breaking down of what is no longer supposed to be and what is working against their divinity. That's what collaboration is. No relationship is easy. It's not supposed to be. It requires effort and hard work because you're collaborating. And in order to collaborate, that means you have to be willing to change because it's not going to always go your way. In order to collaborate with God, you have to be willing to change because it's not going to always go your way because a man's thoughts and a man's ways are not always the highest because you're still fighting that tail. You're still fighting that lower. Your flesh, that was the point I was making. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Your flesh and your spirit. One cannot be without the other. If one is without the other, you have passed away. And that's cool. See you next lifetime. You get what I'm saying? Or whatever the case may be, depending upon what you say yes to. Or depending upon what you did currently, because your next lifetime might be crazy. You're going to keep living like this. You're going to keep passing it down to your children. If you don't change something today, it's more than just the physical realm. It is spiritual. Okay? So one can't be without the other. That part of you, for instance, me, I used to be quick to wrath. I would slap people in their face just because I felt like they was playing with me. Because I always had to stand up for myself. Somebody was always trying to come for me, even when I wasn't doing nothing. I'm just being me. I'm talking about grown adults, people 3-4 times my age coming for me. I'm like, what is wrong here? What is happening? Felt like I was wrong. So I got into a tough exterior and a tough mode where I felt like I had to constantly stand up for myself. So I probably slapped a couple people that didn't even deserve to be slapped. And I apologize to a couple people too. So I was still being divine even in that, in my shortcomings, because I was willing to change and correct myself, even when I was operating in wrath. Not going to be perfect. And God's not asking you to be that. He's asking you to be willing to change. And outside of pride and ego. And that's a fight in itself, right? But don't give up. You can do it. You can do it. That part of me, that girl that feels like she has to fight for herself, you think she died or something? She is still very much here, okay? And we got to talk every day about how to problem solve correctly, because you can't just be putting your hands on people. You can't just be yelling and screaming and crashing out. That's not the way. That's what you were taught from what you've seen and from what you experienced. So that is a part of you, yes. But also, if you shift your perspective on that way of being, you can be a righteous revolution without ever having to put your hands on anybody. It's going to feel like you slapped somebody, but all you did was speak. And you spoke intelligently. You spoke from a divine place. You didn't have to put your hands on nobody. So there's a way where you can shift that, but it doesn't mean that part of you died. It's still there. That's the part that you have to live with. So there's your higher self and there's your lower self, and they both live together. Based upon the opportunities that you entertain, based upon the people you allow to have access to you, based upon the situations that you place yourself in, will determine who you're going to honor. So you have to be wise. It is vital, because you don't have to do nothing. You have free will and you have a choice. That's why your life looked the way it looks right now. You chose that. Not the whole way through, and not always consciously. It was subconsciously and ignorant in a lot of ways, because it was passed down to you. Now that you're aware and you're seeking more awareness, now you're responsible for that, because you are no longer ignorant. That's why they'd be like, hey, when you know something, you can't turn that back off unless you want to be willfully ignorant and turned over to a reprobate mind. But you know better. So choose. Choose better for your life, because that's what you want at the end of the day, and that's what's going to benefit you the most, as well as other people, especially your lineage. Because why do you want to keep passing down strife and disappointment? Come on now. Pride and ego. Leviathan. It's vital to be wise in the situations you place yourself in the opportunities that you accept, and in the people you allow to have access to you. That is why processing things and taking your time is extremely important. And most people that are successful in the most divine way, they didn't jump on nobody else's back to do it. They didn't use nobody or abuse nobody. They didn't take the easy way out. Not them. When you look at people who took the divine path despite adversity and they did what was right, they take their time in deals. They get deals that other people don't even have access to. They step in rooms that people think that they're not even supposed to be in, because they don't even look the part fully. Because they take their time. They pause and reflect on it and say, hold on, God, listen, I ain't get this far in my life by making sporadic decisions. I didn't elevate this high in life by me just reacting off my emotions. I had to stop that. I had to kill my flesh. I had to really take heed to your counsel, Lord. So let me know what direction I need to go in this. And I'm going to sit back, pause, and reflect. And if these people get to rushing me, I'm going to automatically say no, because that must mean you're not operating in divinity, so we don't go together anyway. Thank you for the opportunity. Have a good day. Somebody else is fit for this position, but not me. Everybody else might be saying I'm crazy and why would you turn that down, and that was so-and-so and it made so much sense. Listen, it didn't benefit me, and in the end I would have been miserable but had an opportunity. What is the point of me gaining an opportunity or wealth and I'm going to be sad? What is the point of me gaining opportunity and wealth and access if I'm going to be mad? What is the point in me gaining opportunity and wealth if I'm going to be disappointed and feeling as if I'm still in yesterday? What is the point and the purpose in that? I don't think that's what God wants for me. I actually know it's not. So, have a nice day. See you around. Probably not. You get what I'm saying? In short and in close, to everything that I have expressed here, if they do not enhance your quality of life through collaborating with you, they should be denied access. You're going to have to cut people pleasing out of your operating system so that you'll no longer compromise your boundaries to appease other people and everybody else is benefiting but you. That's detrimental to your progress. It's detrimental to your divinity. It's detrimental to what God intends for you. He has plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans for a hope in the future. So why would he want you living in hell? You don't got to die to get there. Some of us have lived in it and are living in it now. That's why you're tired. Who is taking up space? Who still has your energy and they're no longer even physically around you? What do you need to let go of? Write that letter, write that email, write that text message, whatever it is, process it fully, go through the emotions of it. Don't rush yourself in sending it because sometimes it's not even to be sent. It's just that you can process what took place. Give it to God and start again. Apply every lesson that you learned. Apply the wisdom and don't run from the pain because that is disassociation and you will end up in the same place that you ran from. My name is Jasmine. It means a gift from God, and I'm here to bless you. And as always, I pray that you have received the blessing that God is trying to give. So receive it in faith and know that you are no longer in the place that's keeping you bound because you can actively make the choice to be set free. So accept the wisdom that you have learned after you reflect upon it and pinpoint what is supposed to be applied to you. Take it back to God and take heed to the instruction that he gives. There is nothing that you cannot do through him. So do not hesitate or contemplate moving forward from what is keeping you in yesterday. I will see you next video, and I'm so thankful that you made it to this one. If you are not aware, I go by the Infinite Asset on all social media platforms, so be sure to follow me on Instagram as well as TikTok because all of my content is different on each platform. I may post clips from YouTube on my other platforms, but TikTok gets more personal things like my day-to-day, and then Instagram, of course, you get the cute pictures and a little bit more personal as far as family or stuff that I experience on a deeper level. So I want to make sure that you guys are experiencing me at the highest and it's not limited in any type of way. So make sure that you follow me on all social media platforms because God's gifts make room for you, and baby, I have space and I'm feeling it. Okay, so I want to make sure you're a part of that journey because it's a blessing to you too, and it's not solely for me. So I'm excited for you to see what God is doing in my life, and I'm also excited for you to be blessed by it because I love making an impact. It has been one of the most beautiful journeys that I've been on in my life, and I didn't think me talking and me being me was a blessing. I just thought it was me. I didn't think too much of it, especially coming up, and it had got taken advantage of so much, and I got violated because of it, and a lot of things that I started to hate my voice. The enemy will make you hate the very thing that God will use. So I didn't like myself at all. I had a lot of insecurity, trust issues, amongst many other things in my life because of trauma and pain that I disassociated from and I never sifted through to get the lesson. But I was so forgiving. I'm forgiving people before I even know what I'm forgiving them for. It used to irritate me. Because hold on. Why? But it was God. And he was saving me from being bound because unforgiveness keeps you bound. Right? So I never thought my gifts were important until I started seeing the evidence of it. And I'm like, God, you doing something through me. And what is this? And people are reaching out to me and they saying that me speaking is helping them. It's setting them free from things. Why? What is this? And I trust you. And listen, God, if this is what you want me to do, you got to make me love it. Because you know what I do with things I don't love. It's on the shelf collecting dust right now. I'm not doing that. Like, I need you to make me love it. And I am so thankful that God answers prayers because I love what I do. I love pouring into people, and now I know how to do it within boundaries and standards and limits so that I am not being detrimental to what God blessed me with. And now I'm able to teach you. So I'm excited and thankful and look forward to this journey, not only for me, but for you too. And I'll see you next video.